All right, we're live. What's up, everybody? I'm here with Dan Shrader. Just sharing the live feed to Books of Horror for a moment, so bear with us. Oh, it's a two-step process because I actually have to make this with the live post public, or else we'll be able to see everybody's comments over to the right.
Okay.
When they actually start commenting, so it's pretty nifty in that way.
Commenting.
It should be that. Cat is literally knocking things over. Sitting behind the computer. We'll see how that goes. Welcome everyone to Live with Dan Shrader, author.
What's up?
Hope everybody's doing fine on this Thursday night. I don't know if we got like one viewer. I don't know if you want to do your introduction now, and they can catch it on. Oh,
Eric Butler.
So I'll hand it over to you and let you introduce yourselves.
I'm Dan Shrader, indie horror author. Just a clown trapped in a man's body.
What if you was a clown trapped in a clown's body?
I don't know.
You know?
Just Art the Clown trapped in It the Clown's body.
It the Clown. I've never heard it Pennywise being called It the Clown.
It the Clown, yeah.
Well, think about that. Something for the people to ponder while they view this.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm not a big clown horror type of guy.
I'm not either because I've never found clowns to be scary like a lot of folks do.
Yeah.
So like clown horror doesn't really capture my attention. I don't think the Terrifier movies are meant to be scary though. More like I haven't watched them, so because clown horror doesn't interest me. But have you watched the Terrifier movies?
No.
Any of them?
I've not admitted that yet, but no, I've tried. I fell asleep. Yeah. The only clown type horror I think I've seen is probably It. The old one, of course, millions of times.
Classic, and the new 2-part movie.
Yeah, I like the first part better. I thought the second part was good. It was just
yeah,
some notes. You just kind of get the older films have more of a nostalgic value with me, so I just keep thinking of the old one, like every winter I watch Storm of the Century.
Storm of the Century is fantastic.
That's probably my favorite one.
Give me what I want and I'll go away.
Yeah.
Andre Lanoche.
Born in Sin, come on in.
Yeah. And that's a funny one. There is a book of Storm of the Century, but it's a screenplay. Yeah. So that's one of the few things that Stephen King wrote that's not an actual book, but he wrote it.
He has a couple short story collections with like screenplay format, like for shorts.
What would be your favorite Stephen King tale?
Um, I like a lot of his Richard Bachman stuff.
Yeah,
Apt Pupil is up there.
Apt Pupil is great.
Yeah,
Wait, Apt Pupil is not Richard Bach. Apt Pupil was in different seasons.
different seasons.
Yeah,
Okay, so Running
yeah.
Man.
Running Man, Long Walk,
Yeah,
Road Work, Rage,
probably
Blaze, Thinner.
Thinner. Yeah, Graveyard Shift is Stephen King, but that's probably my favorite book to read.
That's a good one. Graveyard Shift and Night Shift. Or is it Night Shift? Or are you talking about the story, Graveyard Shift?
Or yeah,
Um, is that the one with the rats in the basement of that mill?
yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
rat bat thing or whatever.
that's a pretty decent movie too. Like,
Yeah, even the movie's good. It's got the dude from Why Is Needful Things Trash?
shut up, Eric. Needful Things, the book. I loved it. Like when I read it, but
I like Stephen King, but I'm probably more of a Clive Barker guy. So
Clive Barker. I have read a ton of Clive Barker, but I haven't gotten past a certain point because I usually read authors. He said he's helping. I usually, when I start an author, I go through their entire bibliography from the beginning. So after I read like Weave World, I don't think I've read anything past Weave World for Clive Barker, and I think the next one would be Thief of Always. But I did not particularly care for Weave World,
yeah,
but I did read all the books of blood, and I think that whole series is fantastic.
oh yeah, Books of Blood,
Uh,
Cabals, which is
book
the
6, yeah.
what the hell's that movie?
Oh, Nightbreed,
Yeah, Nightbreed. I just went blank. Nightbreed, and then of course Hellbound Heart is probably one
Hell,
of my top 3 reads.
Hellbound Heart. Now I'm blanking on the one. It's the first book of Art. I think it's Art for Clive Barker. It's the one with the mailbox on the cover and it's blue. Everville is the second book. I cannot think of the first book, but I really like that book. And I don't. And I read. Did you read Scarlet Gospels?
No.
See, that's like the pseudo sequel to Hellbound Heart, and people are very polarized on that one. But I loved it. Like I thought Scarlet Gospels was awesome. The premise. Do you know what it's about?
No.
So I might be misconstruing this. It's been many years, and I'll try not to spoil anything. But I think Pinhead wants to die, or he has a grudge with Lucifer, so he treks across hell to find Lucifer.
Really?
Yep. And
Uh,
then when he does find him, there's a really cool scene of in which state he finds Lucifer. I don't know if he's called Lucifer or Satan or whatever in that book, but like that imagery when he actually does finally find him, like sticks in my brain.
Scarlet
But
Gospel. It's
Scarlet Gospel.
been on a long list of like TBR. Like I have my now that I've been writing and like meeting everybody, knowing people. It's like I have 2 separate TBRs.
Yeah. I'm trying to read Great and Secret Show. Megan got it with the Book of
Yeah,
Art. So Great and Secret Show was fantastic. Like I would recommend that.
Candace said
And
you got it going on time.
yeah, I mean, finally, like after like doing 20 of these, I'm decently
It's
punctual.
probably because you're using this StreamYard now.
Yeah, because it actually works out pretty, pretty decently instead of Can you join now? Can you join now? Maybe you should host. Should I host? Should you host?
Yeah.
But StreamYard's pretty painless once you understand it. Like what I do, I sent you a link. You click the
Yep.
link, and it's
Bam.
right there. Bam. The only hassle is because I don't want to pay for weekly service to this thing. Is I have to share it from my page to Books of Horror. Aside from that being the only drawback for it being a free service, it's pretty amazing. If you paid for it, I could share it directly to Books of Horror, but it's like $32 a month if you figure it up, which I don't use it that often.
Yeah. If you're using it all the time.
If I was like a professional podcaster for sure, like this would be the service that I would choose. And there's another one called Restream. It's just like this, but I think this has a little bit more robust features for free. So
You
I
should start up your own podcast.
I mean, this is what these kind of are, but like
Yeah.
I think I can have up to 3 guests on here, like me and 2 other people. So I may start doing some joint lives with a few other people, but I like to do the one-on-one stuff because especially, I mean, we've met like the past couple lives that I've done with the few people. I just kind of cold called them and be like, "Hey, you want to do a live with me?" And then getting to learn them or learn about them through these lives, like it's awesome.
Yeah, because we've met in person a handful of times, but like it's at cons, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
only you
very
can only talk so much, and then we're doing stuff.
yeah, and then we're just standing around looking at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alexis Johnson, I think she uses Restream, right, for your stuff with Dread Pop. But
Yeah.
see, Eric Butler's just commenting, and I'm probably talking too fast to realize what he's saying, like what he's commenting on. He's like, "Yeah, you do." I don't know what that means. I guess he said. I guess we said that we're pretty cool, or I don't know. I don't know. Eric Butler.
Eric Butler, everybody, the man.
All right. So, with the introduction out of the way, and some chatting about some books that we like, I want to go into the first question with you, and that is, what got you started on your writing journey?
Like publishing, or when I first like kind of got into it.
Let's go with both. Let's start. When did you first start writing?
Like
And then when did you start publishing your work for others to read?
probably fourth grade. I was younger. Well, of course I was younger. I was in fourth grade, but I had trouble sleeping, and I just would get up too early, and so I just started writing because I liked watching movies and wanted to write my own endings to stuff. Uh, my grandparents had all these VHS boxes they recorded, because when the 80s and 90s, they were real big, and like my grandma would just record everything, and I
Yeah.
found box loads of horror, and so I would just basically regurgitate that and write it out. And I wrote screenplays in high school, and I always wanted to publish and always wanted to write, but I don't know, I just started like basically started drinking a lot in my 20s, became really dependent on it, and then I didn't write for like over 10 years, and got sober in September 8th, 21. And then that week when I was in treatment, I asked him for a journal, and I started writing again. And then I pulled out boxes of old stuff that I had, and started writing. And my wife got pregnant, and she was like, "If you really want to do this, like, see how it is, like."
Yeah.
So when my daughter was born, I actually, she was only like 2 weeks old, and I was talking to Candace Nola for the first time and asking her all these questions and just kind of annoying her. And she helped me out a lot. And Matt Wilderson, before I met him, before my daughter was born, and yeah, him him, Candace, and Stephen Kozanowski were like my first three that actually like talked to me and kind of took me in teaching me stuff. And then my first book came out in February of last year.
Last year. So you've been publishing for probably just over a year then?
Yeah.
All right. And that was your first book, Full Nasty?
No.
Okay.
No, it was Those Who Live in Darkness.
Those Who Live in Darkness.
It was my collection of short stories that I had been writing when I got sober. The first year of that. And I kind of wanted to lead with a collection because I was always really into short stories. I've only written one novel. So Full Nasty was actually book 4 or 5. Because before that, Banshee Graveyard came out. And I wrote the first half of that in high school. And then I never touched it again until the year before last. And it just kind of clicked.
So you've been picking up your old writing, like your way old writing.
Yeah.
So like how has it been for you to go back and see the things you were writing back then versus the person you are today? And then are you rewriting what you had written, or are you retrofitting it into the stories you're working on now?
Some stuff I've actually published is stuff that I wrote when I was in high school and younger. I had like some of the stuff that I was writing I probably shouldn't have been writing, and the mindset. And I remember after 9/11 happened, I got brought to the counselor's office at my school because I accidentally left a notebook out, and one of my teachers grabbed it and opened it up, and that was pretty fun. So
they thought you was like disturbed.
Yeah. Which my older brother, he was the one running around with the trench coat and stuff.
Right.
They were just reading. They were just like, "This is pretty dark," and they asked me if I was angry. I was like, "No, I'm good." But yeah. So other stuff like Full Nasty, that's just stuff I'm writing. That's stuff now, So
yeah. I don't know if I've ever discussed it. I think the first time I ever wrote anything was in high school, and I think my aunt had got a bunch of typewriters from a yard sale or something, or somebody gave her a bunch of typewriters, so I started picking out really short, almost like flash stories, but it was all about my friends at the time and using them as characters. They all had special nicknames and stuff, but it was absolutely about them. So sometimes, yeah, like you said, you asked for that journal. You were in rehab.
I went to a treatment center for a couple weeks. I put myself in there. I wasn't like, I never had like DUI, stuff like that. It was just one of those suffering.
You asked for a journal.
I was a functioning alcoholic really bad. So
yeah.
But I got a journal and I came up, I think, with Casper while I was in there.
Do you still write longhand now, or have you switched to word processing?
I still write by hand, notes and stuff. Like I always carry around like piles, and then I'll go through them. Anywhere we go, I'm always writing something. But then I got to have extras now because my daughter does the same thing. She wants to sit there and scribble.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I use Word, and what I like to do is like I'm always working on multiple projects. So I have one where I'm writing out by hand whenever I get free time, random times.
Yeah.
Writing out chunks of it, and then I'll work on something else, type that out. So
it's probably good for your brain because it would help you. It's almost like a different mindset.
Yeah.
So like typing out multiple stories at a time, I think that would get a lot harder to keep straight in your head which one you're working on versus typing one out and then writing one out. So
yeah. I don't know, man. It's a circus up here. It's crazy. I have all these ideas that I
Well, you said you were a clown in a man's body, so
yeah. Was it Megan said she can't read her own handwriting? Her brain goes faster than her hand.
yeah, like that would be me because I would just drop words out.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I can write. I'll write chunks, and then the thoughts. I'll write words too, and just drop words like random things. I can't draw. I would say I about said draw things. I can't draw any things, but
Yeah.
penises and smiley faces. But
Eric says he can draw the same things as you, so
yeah, he probably does it better though.
yeah, he's well practiced in it. Um, so that's very interesting. Trying to see if there was anything else I wanted to pick your brain with in that. If anybody's got any questions too, drop them in the comments and we'll address them. But yeah, that's very cool. Like it's cool that you actually get to use the old stuff that you wrote. Like actually, it gets to see the light of day because a lot of authors they don't they usually don't just
Yeah.
just drop it, almost trunk it, and then they set the trunk on fire, and then they give it a Viking funeral out there on the lake or something.
Yeah, I did that with actually a lot of my stuff. At one point, I burned a lot of it.
Yeah,
And I kept a hold of a couple boxes.
that's
I think
cool.
it was stuff like I had like this remake of the Halloween series, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
but that's even if you don't do anything with that stuff, it's sentimental to you because it's almost you learning the craft in the beginning. Like this is
yeah,
your origin. Like basically, you was almost I don't know what we call dictating what you were watching,
mm-hmm.
or yeah. So
Kind of learning the flow of it. Like
that's
especially the character dialogue. I was real always keen on that kind of stuff because like the cheesy 80 movies where they're always drinking beer and having a good time and
yeah.
bad decisions.
Oh man. So yeah, like everybody likes a cheesy '80s horror movie, so
Yeah,
translates so well to writing. Like it
it really
really
does.
does. So all right. Next question. Is there any advice you received that helped you in the beginning? So it could be from any of those three people that something that stuck with you that they might have told you in the beginning.
Um, I don't. I think with probably Candace because she mentors me a lot with things, um, reading my stuff and always talking to me about plots and stuff like that. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I rem I talk to her the most probably. So
That's the beauty of not having these questions beforehand because I don't want to
yeah,
think about them. I want it off the cuff. I want it raw. I want
yeah,
it. I want the real Dan Shrader. So
yeah, yeah.
she's mentored you. She's guided you in your writing process. Maybe
Yeah,
not even. Is it just writing, or is she also helped you along with publishing because publishing's a whole different beast.
oh yeah. Everything. I didn't know anything. Like when she was
Yeah.
trying to talk to me about trim sizes, I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then
Yeah.
because Matt did the whole rap for the first book for me, and then she was like talking to me about formatting, and then like the pages with the spine, and I knew nothing about any of that.
Yeah.
They all really helped me a lot because all I knew was just writing. Oh, that's it, you know. Like here I am to tell a story, but I didn't know the behind the scenes stuff. Oh, and another thing is, I mean, Candace was like Goodreads, uh, website, merch, building your name, that kind of stuff. Like she was like, start using your name, like you're gonna go by Dan Shrader Horror. Dan Shrader horror everything, so it's always Dan Shrader horror, Dan Shrader horror.
Yeah,
And so,
keep it consistent across all platforms, so
yeah,
it's very easy for people to find you.
yeah, because you see some people will change their logo or their name a lot, or they won't have any. And I've noticed it makes a big difference. It really does.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the best things she did tell me to do.
Second part to that question is there now a piece of advice you would pass on that's separate from that you received? Is there a separate piece of advice that you would pass on to new or up and coming authors?
Right. Just right. You can be active in the community, have a good time, but just remember, always remember that's why you do it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, why do you do it? Me, it keeps me sober and it makes me happy because it was actually, for me, it was the first thing that I felt like like it made sense in my life. And I lost that when I took my first drink and I went down that road and I got out of high school and I stopped writing. I lost a part of, there was always something missing. It was what I went through for a long time may have not been as bad as other people, stuff like that. But for me, I always felt like I was missing a part of me for over a decade. So I feel whole again, like in the last, since I got sober, but in the last year and a half or whatever of publishing really makes, because it just makes me happy. And you can't never forget that. It's not about the money. It's not about.
If there's one thing writer has to do, it's
right.
Yeah. Correct. But yeah. Yep. And it's good. Like it's like you said, it's made you whole again. It's given you purpose. Yeah. Like maybe where you said for that decade you lost, like imagine had you went down the different route and actually been writing the whole time, where you'd be at nowadays. But
everything happens for a reason.
Yep, everything. I don't never look back. Like I got to this place that I am now by those roads.
Yeah, I don't believe in I'm not a big believer in beating yourself up about the past. It's happened. It's done with. It's a learning experience. You move forward. It's, if anything, having that mindset has helped me craft a lot of characters based off of the knowledge of being, addicted to that stuff, certain stuff. And I don't know.
It's given you a lot of experience to draw from.
You look at life different too, a lot.
Yeah. So we got a very poignant question from Danielle Yvonne, and it says, what gives Dan more anxiety, driving by a bunch of cows at a slow speed or hitting publish on KDP?
Going past cows at a slow speed.
My
wife does it. I hate it. I hate
cows.
Yeah, I can't do it. I don't like their eyes. People are scared of spiders, snakes. For me, it's cows. It was like that for a long time. I didn't tell anybody. Then I told some people, and now here we are.
So what if you get in the grocery store and you see that laughing cow cheese? Does that trigger you? They're laughing at me. They're all gonna laugh at you.
It's a different kind. It's more of the live, you see,
seeing a cow in person.
A cow in person with their eyes staring at you.
Yeah, dead eyes.
Yeah,
just not a thought in the world. Except maybe that guy looks that guy looks tasty.
Yeah,
that's probably what they're thinking.
I don't know. I actually
your stomachs to fill.
I actually embraced my fear with it a little bit and added cows in this short story I got. It's a secret project it'll be revealed. But I wrote a short story where a dude gets
We love secret projects here on
yeah,
these lives.
he got a he's scared of cows and things
Yeah.
happen.
That's what I was going to ask you too. Like, have you ever put that in your stories, like the fear of cows, or anything else that scares you? Like, have you ever use that stuff for your own stories? Like, I don't like spiders. Like, you don't like cows. So the first
Yeah.
book I ever published was about a girl befriending a spider. So
Probably. I always kind of had his not like scared of, but like albinos. So Ripper's Well has a lot of albinism in it, just
yeah.
pale people everywhere.
Well, so you don't have the fear of clowns, but maybe mimes, or is it just makeup? It doesn't matter if it's makeup. So you just
No,
pale
it's
skin,
like
red
just
eyes,
yeah,
or
the
pink
eyes,
nose, pink ears.
the whole thing. Like they're just they're albinos is like something dark about them. They're dark. They're very translucent, but there's I had there was a couple of them in my high school, a brother and sister, and
Yeah.
I don't know, they were like twins too. They were just weird, man. They're like vampires. No offense to anybody out there if you're a vampire.
No offense to vampires on this live.
Yeah.
We accept you as you are.
Yes, we know you're out there.
Megan has a great question, which is one of my questions, but she's just going to dip into it already. So, is there a subgenre you haven't explored yet that you would like to? That's part one. You can answer that.
Is there a subgenre you haven't? Aquatic horror, probably.
So, is that like deep sea?
Yeah, kind of like more like what is it? Like Ghost Ship, that kind of stuff, like abandoned ship or abandoned like building out on a little island and boat breaks down.
Maybe like a lighthouse type horror.
Yeah,
That would be cool. I would did some lighthouse horror.
I have actually a project I've been slowly working on, like that kind of. So
Aquatic horror, Megan. The next part is what is your favorite? What is your favorite of your own works?
Well, it's not out yet, but Candace will be editing it for me soon. Cabin Black, probably. But what's out? Corpse Bound. I think Corpse Bound's. It's hard because I like a lot of all my stuff for different reasons. To be honest, my least favorite is probably Full Nasty, but Corpse Bound would be up there.
Corpse Bound. So if people are wanting to look into Dan's favorite work of his own, to check out Corpse Bound. Who did the cover?
I did.
You did. There you go.
Yeah. It's a little mass market size.
And then the final part, what has been the biggest struggle for you while embarking on your publishing journey? What has been the hardest part of it?
The hardest part, learning how to use social media stuff, learning TikTok and Instagram and hashtags and all that. Like the marketing side of it, I guess. But it's been great to not like the aspect of like meeting people, like I've met so many great people by learning how to do it and like writing and stuff, but like actually learning how to use it, because I didn't have a TikTok before. I didn't have an Instagram. I had a Facebook, but I barely used it. Like I was living in the past, man. Stone Age.
I mean, every time you learn the marketing or the social media, something new comes along and everything shifts and everything changes. So it's very fluid. It's very hard to get a beat on it. So you just it's a full secondary job just in the marketing aspect.
And honestly, I've learned like patience is the biggest key. Just keep writing, and people, just people read, people talk about it. Like you don't have to market every second you're on social media or
Yeah,
anytime you engage people. That's just kind of annoying.
yeah.
Like we're
Just
talking right now. Like, hey, read
be a
my book.
human. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Or hey, my cat died. And be like, man, I wrote this really killer story about a cat dying. You want to read it?
That's why people like Danielle Yvonne, Christina Pfeiffer, uh, the people over at Uncomfortably Dark, the members of Books of Horror,
Oh yeah,
so invaluable to authors, especially indie authors,
sure.
just by reading and reviewing, whether they like the book or not. It's still putting your book in front of other people's eyes. So
Yeah, I think
that's why,
I think some people too. Like, say you get 3 stars and someone's still mentioning your book.
yeah,
That's not going to deter anybody. Hell, like even a 1 star, it's not going to deter you from someone like wanting like. Whenever I want to see really good B horror movies, I look for the shitty rating ones.
yeah.
Like every
So like 3 stars out of five. Let's double that. If it was a 10-star system, that's 6 out of 5. Does that sound so horrible? Six
no,
out of ten?
no, I never thought
No,
about it that way.
above average.
Look at you, star mathing it up. Yeah,
This,
that's
this, this is how I sleep at night, by doing that type of math.
sitting around just mind going. I
Yeah.
yeah, it'd probably just be the marketing side of stuff.
Yeah,
Not
I
not
agree.
reviews or not people's opinions about my writing. If people love it, they love it. If they hate it, they hate it. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I tell a lot of, especially up and coming authors, and they're like so worried about the stuff they're writing. Like this might be too extreme. I promise you, there are books out there far more extreme than anything you could probably write. But don't worry about it because there's always an audience for everything. Like
yeah,
you just have to find it, but somebody out there is going to be into your writing.
I never
Yeah,
write and stop to think about. Okay, now I need to make this. I need this to go really extreme. All
yeah,
right, what can I write to make it go extreme? I just a lot of times, sometimes stuff happens, and I'm just typing it out or writing it out, and I have an idea where it's going to go, but then it goes a different direction. I just let the characters kind of my mind. It's just a movie in my head.
yeah.
Never like will go and stop and be like, no, like we need to make this real messed up. Like I just write. Some stuff's extreme, some
Yeah.
stuff's not.
I mean, you just, yeah, always, and that's the other piece of advice. Always write for yourself
Yeah,
because um, I think you knew that from early on when you started writing. Write for yourself. Like, don't write for people. Don't write for an audience. Don't write for trends because you're always going to be chasing it. So if you
yeah,
write for yourself, that's the best thing you can do for you, and then the audience will find it. Everything that comes in and out of vogue is circular. So if it's not popular now, give it a give it some time. It will be.
oh yeah. Trends always repeat themselves.
Yep, absolutely. There's
Please,
Chuck Nasty joining.
Chuck Nasty. What's up, Chuck?
So here's one that I want to kind of twist a little bit because we did discuss it already. But with Corpse Bound, is that the novel
It's a novella.
novella? So Candace says, "What story are you most proud of so far?" And you got into Corpse Bound, but I want to change up her meaning and go with short story. What short story are you most proud of, and where can
Short
you find
story.
it?
Probably.
If you have a ton, it's hard to pick one.
Uh, it'd have to be from my first collection. Um, and it's hard to pick from those because Eyesore was one I really liked. about a cheating couple. There's a couple and one of them's cheating, and it's just a real simple like living room type setting, like and it's just there's like supernatural type horror to it, but it's real just down. It's just a bad love story, really.
So people need to pick up your short story collection to catch. Eyesore is the name of it.
Huh?
Eyesore.
Yeah, it's that.
So
Those Who Live in Darkness.
Those Who Live in Darkness. If people want to have an introduction for Dan Shrader, I always seek out short story collections if it's a new to me writer, and so
yeah, because you can especially like there's an array of different types of horror subgenres in it, and that and probably From the Gutters. I think that one's like very 80s nod.
Yeah. So because
it starts off the world of Towers Valley, which 99% of my books all revolve around. So
what has been the biggest surprise to you after joining the horror community? And that could be with writing, reviewing, or anything else that you would like to spotlight.
My biggest surprise?
What has been the biggest surprise to you about the horror community? Reviewers, writers, camaraderie?
Yeah. Probably how much there are good people willing to help. And you make friendships out of it. Sometimes you end up meeting so many people, you can't talk to them every day, but you'll hit them up 3 months down the road and stuff. But yeah, the camaraderie and the friendship you make, they help you out. Another thing is probably the reception of my work. Like I really thought like a couple people would read my stuff and that would be it. Like it would take a long time for people to notice me.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had a pretty good readership. That still it just blows my mind at times because I'm always humble and I never forget where I come from. People that help me.
Yeah.
And I'm just real I'm just down. I'm just here to write, and share my stories, and hopefully people get something out of it. It takes them out of their daily life. That's all. Yeah. Yep. But I've met a lot of great people, and honestly, I feel like somewhere I belong.
Found your tribe.
Yeah, a lot of like-minded people.
That's good. It's definitely what humble people tell people is that they're humble. So
humble.
Oh, that was a good answer, bro. Like when you write, are you a pantser, plotter, or a hybrid of both?
I always said pantser until Cabin Black is probably my first one where I'm a plotter. I wrote out. It's the first story I've ever had where I have 3 different timelines. So I have back in the 1700s, then in the 60s, and then in the 80s, and they all get told throughout dreams, and then audio clippings, like people telling the story that leads up to why they're in this cabin.
Yeah.
So that one, yeah, like I actually wrote out a whole timeline.
Because it has a lot of callbacks, I would say.
Yeah, because here's this one that leads up to this guy, and then where we're at now. But doing it in a way where it's because it's like Hellraiser meets Evil Dead, in a way.
So
it's a big nod to that.
being someone that now that you've your current work in progress is plotted, which do you prefer out of the two?
Oh, Panther.
Panther.
Yeah, I just like to sit down. I have an idea and just go with it. Like this one has. I've been writing this one since all before August of last year, and
It's going to be a novel. Do you imagine?
it's going to be close, or it will be. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm finishing touches up on it now, and then I'll have it edited, and then um, I plan on putting it out on my 4 years sobriety date, September 8th.
This year?
Yep.
Okay. Chuck Nasty has a really great question. Is there anything you've released that you wish you would have done more with?
Wish I would have done more with. I actually, something I released that I wish I would have done less with
Oh,
would probably be my novel, Soulless Lonesome. I wish I would have not rewritten it so much.
yeah.
Because that was a learning process in itself. Because when people have read it, the few people that have, it's like one of my least picked up books. They would talk about it, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, because that one character's in it," and then they were like, "What?" Because I took people out, and
So in your mind, you have it conflated with the
yes,
original story that you wrote versus what's
yeah,
actually published.
because it's one of those. It's one of those. It was a huge undertaking. It was very heavily influenced by William Johortsberg's Fallen Angel, the movie Angel Heart's based off of.
Yeah.
And it's like one of my favorite books and my favorite movies. And detective stuff, cult, religious horror that I tend to always write about. But I rewrote the ending several different times. I rewrote a lot of what happens to certain characters. There's cameo because I always have cameos of people from different stories, and I wish I would have done less.
So it's interesting.
Because at some point you rewrite it so much, you can rewrite something so much that it loses what you started with.
Yeah.
And
So when you typically publish a book, how many drafts do you have of that book before you actually hit publish?
so several.
Several?
Huh?
Several?
Yeah. I write, and then if I go, like say I take a few days off from it and I'm working on something else, I'll start at the beginning and I go through it again and then pick up where it's at. When I'm finished, I go over it again. Then there's actually quite a bit of my work. I go from the end to the beginning. I'm just weird, like how I go over it a lot because when I send it to somebody to get edited or anything like that or get looked at finally, I don't want to have like jumbled, messed up stuff and just real. Like I try and put out the best quality that I can. I love telling the story, but you also kind of like, especially if people are going to pay money for something, you want to try and give them the best. And I know it's hard money wise and stuff like that with people. But yeah, like Soulless Lonesome, too many times that I probably had way too many.
So you feel it's watered down from what you originally would have liked.
Honestly, I mean, I love the product. I love what came out of the story. Everybody that loves it seems to like it a lot. But I think Happy Goat Horror, she kind of mentioned it, was the reactions to certain characters wasn't as believable. And I'm like, well, it was. Oh, wait, but I lost that as I was doing it. So that kind of stuff.
Yep. I see what you're saying.
Have you ever had that, like, where you've
Edited to
rewritten
death.
something too much?
Yeah, edited to death.
Yeah, that was that's one thing I learned from that.
Yeah, that's a hard lesson to learn, but you can only learn it from making that mistake. So
Exactly. I mean, I still love the book, and it's wild, man. Like, I don't I don't think anybody that's read it can figure out the ending before. Like, sometimes you see an ending coming, and
yeah,
you're like, oh, but you're there for it. Like, you have those type of endings where you know what's coming, and you're just gonna get what you want the whole time. But it's one of those out of left field. That's all I
there you
can.
go, people. That's something I think will tickle a lot of people's fancies when they watch this. Is a book that you might not be able to guess the ending of. So
Yeah, and it's not extreme horror or anything. It's very uh, transgressive '80s old school um, cults, Satanists, stuff like that.
mind, I'm getting I got help. Do you see the camera shaking? That's
Yeah, is your
yeah,
cat?
yeah.
Is it purring?
It just jumped on the table. So, well, like I said, Megan asked it earlier because the second part to that question is what genres do you tend to write in and what do you want to tackle in the future? So, um, I think we'll go through what genres you have currently written in.
Uh, Splatterpunk, extreme, bizarro, um, cultic religious horror, supernatural possession. I've done like the little kind of slasher, killer on the loose with some lunar mayhem. Um,
Is there a favorite one that you say you like to write the cult religious horror?
yeah, it's I've always just been, well. My dad was a preacher, so I was kind of just real rebellious. So I
Yeah.
read a lot, studied a lot, and I always found Anton LaVey and Lester Crawley like very inspiring to read from. Studied a lot of cults. I actually, like, when I went to college, I for a little while I took like serial killer, like study cults and stuff like that.
That's cool. There's a cult course in college.
I was
What
with
did
my
you
yeah.
study in college?
Huh?
Was it like criminal justice?
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah.
And I ended up doing that and then realizing, like, this is I don't really want to. I hated college.
Yeah.
Those type of classes were fun, but even in high school, I mean, school, I did the bare minimum.
I never went to college, but now being very far removed from it, like I can see myself, the classroom environment is not good for how I learn things
Yeah, everybody's
because like I probably learned just as much after the fact of school than I ever did in school just by teaching myself in a way that I could understand it better.
uh,
So
I used to love just laying in bed. I'd go to sleep every night listening to the History Channel and stuff.
yeah,
Back before the History Channel was just Ancient Aliens on repeat in Roanoke Island, because that's seems like all they play.
well before it was that it was just World War II
World War
documentaries.
II, stuff like that.
Yep, that's what I like too. Like just anything history wise. I forget which channel it's on. It might be Discovery. There's a series called Mysteries of the Abandoned.
Oh yeah,
I think you would find that pretty fascinating. And it's like in like season 9, and there's like 15 plus episodes per season, and each episode goes to like 3 to 4 different locations, and it tells you about all these abandoned sites across the world and the history about them.
Yeah,
Like
that would be interesting. I'm always interested in
probably like
old school
probably,
asylums, like mental asylums and stuff.
they do the asylums. They do anything and everything, but I would say probably 50 or 60% of them are old abandoned military installments,
Yeah,
particularly from the Nazis, but not exclusive. But they do like the old Civil War forts and stuff. They do all kinds of things. So being interested in history and that type of stuff,
yeah.
and
I like studying or I was really into like rune stones and like the occult within the
yeah,
Nazis and this dating back to other armies and stuff.
yeah, like
Crazy stuff.
that's the cool shit. That's the stuff you get to if it interests you, you get to teach yourself about as an
But
adult.
that's the best way is just I love
YouTube is a hell of a drug.
huh?
YouTube is a hell of a drug.
Oh yeah, you can go down a rabbit hole. Remember the old like creepy videos they used to have, like the hand thing?
Oh yeah. So that's cool. Um, the next question is the wrap up stuff. So, what events will you be at for the foreseeable future?
That I know that I have in stone right now, TBR2.
TBR2. All right. So that would be in September 13th
Yeah,
or 14th,
September
15th, 13th, 14th?
13th, 14th.
13th, 14th. I know
Yeah,
so that
that for sure. And then I've been asked about a couple things, but they haven't been announced, or I don't think they're.
where are you located?
Where am I located?
State-wise.
State-wise, Indiana.
Indiana. So there's a few things. That Scares the Care says that they're going to do another St. Louis next year.
Yeah, which
So
I
we'll
went to
see.
that last year. I'll definitely go to that one again.
Yeah, like that probably wasn't too bad travel wise for you.
Oh no, because Williamsburg, I went to my first ever con event last year in April, and I didn't vend. I just wanted to meet people. And
Yeah,
this last time, Jason Nicky had my books and everything, but that was it's different when you got to fly, and I don't want to fly again after this last time. We got like a 13-hour layover
oh
because all
really?
the bad storms that were going on. It was terrible coming back.
See, I've never flown anywhere. If I can't drive it, and like 12 hours is about my max driving time. If I can't drive it, I'm not going. So flying's out of the question.
Yeah, it's flying. It was not a good experience.
Um, so look for Mr. Dan Shrader at TBR Con. That is in Knoxville, Tennessee,
Yeah,
September 13th and 14th. 15th. I swear it's
one of those.
it's one of those 3 days. I know it's the 14th for sure. Megan, what days is it?
Yeah, it's always a good time going to cons. I love it.
How far is Knoxville from you?
Not sure. Probably like 6 hours, maybe.
13th and 14th.
Megan said 13th and 14th. Yeah,
Megan.
She should know.
She should probably know.
Yeah,
We should probably know if we're going to be there, but she should definitely know.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Megan, by the way, too, because she's so awesome. She gave a really awesome introduction to my Full Nasty 4 that I'll be dropping here soon.
That is my next question. Thanks for getting into that. What are you currently working on, and when can people expect it from you?
What am I working on? Well, Cabin Black, that'll be in September. Full Nasty 4, the final chapter, will be out by May 20th, so next Tuesday, but the ebook will be coming sooner. I'll be loading everything's formatted and done. I'm probably going to be loading it all soon because some stuff came up next week and I don't want not to come out on that day. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this will be the close to Satanic Bill and all that, or will it? I don't know.
Or will it? I mean,
will
you
it?
can always say that you're not going to continue a series, but out of the blue, your subconscious will hit you over the head with, "Hey, wouldn't this idea be cool? Wouldn't
Yeah.
this be cool to go about it this way or something?" Or
Yeah, I mean, I could kill him, and then who knows? Maybe 5 years from now, I could have this idea where, like Jason X, like
Jason lives.
have some space cult bring him back to life.
There you go.
Right.
But
that's a nod to the final chapter for Full Nasty 4 is I could do the New Blood next.
There you go. So aside from that, tell people where they can find you on all the lovely socials.
Oh, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Just type in Dan Shrader Horror. I have a website, Dan Shrader Horror, where you can get book mail, and you can go on there and there's links to my Goodreads and my Amazon, or you can just type my name, Dan Shrader Author, into Google. I don't know how it happened, but you can just type my name now and you can see me, and I think Dan Schneider, the dude from Nickelodeon.
Yeah. That's what I was interviewing today.
Shut up.
If people want signed copies of your books, do you have a storefront for them to get?
Yes. Yeah, my website is powered through Big Cartel, so
okay.
I actually
like all the other
stock's really low.
Yeah, stock's really low. So if any of these books sounded interesting to you folks, might want to jump on and grab one.
Or for this month too, I lowered all my paperbacks, so $8.99 for most of my paperbacks, except for Banshee, Those Who Live in Darkness, and Soulless Lonesome. Everything else is $8.99 or $8.
Deals, folks.
Deals. I'm always selling them cheap.
Yep. Every time you buy a book from Dan, his beard gets longer.
Yeah.
So we want to see it tickling his belly button by Christmas.
Tickling his belly. There's no way.
All right. Anything else you want to tell the folks, or if anybody has any last minute questions for Dan, we can hit them up.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, and I really am grateful for this community and like being a part of it. It's really nice. It's a great escape from actual real life.
It is,
but in a way, it kind of feels like the real you. It's
like you can let down your your facade that you put on for the public.
Yeah, if you talk to some of your coworkers like about the ideas you have, people that read certain stuff. I mean, I'm going to be in HR,
Oh my gosh, Christina Pfeiffer.
Oh my.
Sorry, Christina, we are out of time.
Yeah.
Nah. You're just going to have to catch this on a rerun.
Yeah.
So, I will have this, every dang time. I will have this up on YouTube eventually. I keep telling everybody that, I just have to pull them off of StreamYard where we recorded it and figure out how to get them uploaded onto YouTube. I have the page set up and everything. So once I do that, I think it will be better for people to go back and view these.
Oh yeah.
On YouTube.
It's always fun to kind of go back. I'll watch other people's. I don't like watching mine. So
but
I go blank.
September 8th, 4 years sobriety. So if you want to come back around there and talk about the book you're dropping on September 8th, I will be glad to have you on.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. So I will take a look at my schedule and we'll work it out as
Yeah.
best we can. Um, Aside from that, anything else?
No, just yeah.
Oh, wait, we had a very important question before the live. I almost forgot, but how many birds live in that beard?
A
I almost forgot.
whole family.
A whole family of birds.
I don't know. It's not as big as a lot of other beards I've seen.
Let's just, for Eric's sake, let's say a Seahawk, an Eagle, and a Raven all live in there.
Yeah, California
Football, football,
California condor.
California Condor. Are we a NFL fan, Dan?
Am I in it?
Yeah, sports ball.
I
What's
don't
your team? You got a team.
It would have to be the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers. That's respectable.
I've been a Buccaneers fan since I was a kid.
That's respectable. So probably like Warren Sapp. You like watching the rise of Warren Sapp and stuff, like, or even before that.
Well, I was always I actually like really love Brian Boss, but I know he's not. He doesn't. But like even into his filmmaking, getting into films and stuff. But,
See, I only go back on the NFL till about the early 2000s. That's when I started getting into it.
I think I was more into basketball too, because where I'm from, Larry Bird's from there, so
Larry
Bird's
Bird,
very
the
nice guy. Celtics, yeah, Pacers, and then yeah, my favorite basketball player is probably Larry Bird and Dennis Rodman. I always liked Dennis Rodman when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember watching all those Bulls championships as a very young kid, and just rooting for them. I think it was the last year that they won the championship as the Bulls before they broke up the dynasty, and I think it was Steve Kerr had the winning 3-point. Like Michael had it, and he passed it over to Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr throws it up, and they won the championship.
Just something about like those were like I don't know. It's just harder to get into it nowadays.
Yeah,
like an old man. I sound like an old man. I'm young, 30s.
I think it's because now I know there's people that play it for the love, but it seems too money oriented now.
Well, it's like wrestling. I feel like the old school stuff with Undertaker and
Attitude Era.
Huh?
Attitude Era.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good stuff. So we're gonna lose every viewer we have. Just
there you go. They're like, what are they talking about?
Like, who the fuck
are these? Rabbit hole here.
Yeah, but yeah, I think entertainment in general seems to have gotten worse. The rise of reality and stuff.
Yeah.
But you get it. That's why it's like when you get a really good horror movie that comes out, it gets celebrated so much. Especially like In a Violent Nature is a very indie but very good horror movie that's a throwback to, Friday the 13th, really. So I think Jason Nicky is the one that was singing its praises long before anybody else had really watched it.
I think with social media and everything and how excited some people can get if they got a platform, you got your hype man right there. Everybody's hyping people up, and it's. I don't know. I think that's why, I think that's why short stories and novellas tend to do, like, especially in indie horror, tend to be read more than like bigger books. I mean, not saying people don't read bigger books, but everybody wants it and they want it now.
Yep, and they want a fast pace from the gate.
Right fast pace. Just ninja stars to the face. Let's do
which is just everything against what I am as a writer, because I'm like a slow burn, but I do short works. So
yeah, I still have a Necronado. I need to. It's sitting next to my bed.
Right.
I'll dig into it.
Pulled it out earlier, but you can't get this now because it was exclusive, folks. But would you just look at that? I got this in St. Louis from Mr. Dan Shrader. It was exclusive for that event in the fall. It's the Halloween edition.
Yeah, there's
October.
only like 30 or 40 copies out there. That's it. I don't even have a copy, which I mean, I can order myself one. But yeah, I'll have some exclusives.
Satanic Bill.
Satanic Bill. I'll have some other exclusives I'll be announcing this summer. So
There you go. So when you see a limited edition, anything from Dan, it is really limited edition, and you need to jump on it.
yeah, like Gothic Rot's gone. If I do that, I'm done with it. I just feel like if you say it's limited edition, then it's
Or
limited
it
edition.
needs to be limited edition.
Yeah.
All
That's how
right,
you,
sir.
how you get your kneecaps taken out.
Yeah. Or you say it's limited edition, and then you only have, let's say, 50 copies, and then you only sell 5, and then you're like, this is super scarce, and then that's your retirement plan is you keep the other 45 to dole out to eBay every once in a while.
I hope this isn't a true story.
I'm just giving people ideas. I'm just throwing it out there, like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Anyways, well, yeah, like I could talk to you about different things, but
We better get off this live. We probably don't have anybody left, so
we got 3 people, and that's Eric, Christina, and Megan for sure.
yeah.
Eric's like, I thought they were getting off of here 30 minutes ago.
Figured out my business model.
All right.
All
Good
right,
talking to you, Dan.
that was
Always
good
a
talk.
pleasure. Can't wait to see you in September at TBR.
No, it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. Can't wait.
Yep.
All right,
And
I'm
for
out.
everybody else, have a great night, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Sleep tight.